Okay, so when I say forklift, what pops into your head? Probably some slow, beeping machine, right? Just shuffling boxes around a big warehouse. But what if I told you that in the right hands, that same machine is capable of almost surgical precision? And, well, in the wrong hands, it can pull off some truly mind-bending and dangerous stunts. So today, let's figure out what really separates your average operator from a true forklift master.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question. Is driving a forklift actually harder than driving a car? I mean, think about it. Most of us have driven a car. It feels pretty second nature. So how much harder could a forklift possibly be? What do you think?
Well, the surprising answer is absolutely yes. And not just a little bit harder, but considerably harder. The reasons why are actually kind of fascinating and definitely not what you'd expect.
So it all comes down to how these things are built. Your car, it's designed for stability, right? Low to the ground, balanced. A forklift, on the other hand, it's super easy to tip over, especially when you're turning. Plus, its weight is all over the place depending on the load it's carrying. But the biggest, most mind-bending difference? A forklift steers with its rear wheels. Yeah, you heard that right. The whole back end swings out when you turn, which completely flips the script on how you take a corner or squeeze through a tight spot.
Okay, so if these things are so tricky to handle, what does real professional mastery actually look like? Well, it all starts with a foundation of skill that's tested, sanctioned, and all about control.
And this is where we see it in action. The forklift obstacle course. You can basically think of this as the Olympics for forklift drivers. And these competitions, they're not about speed or crazy stunts. Nope, they are the ultimate test of precision, incredible control, and a rock-solid commitment to safety, all with a clock ticking down.
And the rules really show you the kind of control we're talking about. I mean, they have to weave this multi-ton machine through cones that have tennis balls just sitting on top of them. They have to carry a bucket filled to the brim with water, and every single spilled drop costs them points. And get this, any safety mistake, no matter how small, gets you disqualified on the spot. This right here, this is the gold standard of skill.
But navigating a course is one thing. True mastery goes even further into these acts of almost unbelievable micro-movements. We're talking about stuff that seems like it should be totally impossible for a machine this big and clunky.
Okay, so here's one of the most legendary displays of forklift skill. Forget about lifting a heavy pallet. We're talking about picking up a single coin, just a tiny flat coin sitting on the floor.
And they do it with the very tip of a tine. You know, one of those massive, heavy steel forks. I mean, just think about the scale difference there. It's wild. But wait, it gets better. Picking up the coin is only half the battle. Then they have to have the control to gently place that coin perfectly on top of a water bottle. It's just an incredible display of fine motor control. And here's what makes that coin trick so next-level difficult. Those forklift tines, they're not actually supposed to touch the ground. Ever. You're supposed to keep them about an inch off the floor because scraping them can cause some serious, expensive damage. So this trick isn't just about precision. It shows an operator knows their machine so intimately they can push it right to the edge of its limits without crossing the line. Here's another wild example of that micro-control. Imagine using those giant forks to hold a tiny cigarette lighter and then actually flicking it on. The control is just undeniable. But it's worth pointing out that this technically breaks a safety rule about carrying uneven loads. And that little rule break, that's where we start to see a line forming between skill and something else. Because yeah, there is a very, very clear line between amazing skill and just plain recklessness. And some operators, they don't just walk up to that line, they love to jump right over it, leaving professional skill behind and entering the danger zone. And I gotta give you a huge warning here, straight from the source material. It's totally fine to watch this next stuff in amazement, but seriously, don't try any of it. These things are cool to see, for sure, but they shatter critical safety rules and put people in real danger. Think of this as a what not to do highlight reel. So what are we talking about? Well, there's the forklift swing, where a worker gets spun around like a theme park ride, except it's one slip away from being deadly. Then you've got the forklift wheelie, which might look cool for a second, but it's really just an act of losing control. And finally, the balancing act, a true masterpiece of terrible, dangerous decisions all rolled into one. And to really get why that wheelie is so dangerous, you just need a tiny bit of physics. A forklift is all about its center of gravity. That's what keeps it stable. A wheelie isn't skill.
It's an operator intentionally messing with that center of gravity, pushing the whole massive machine right to the brink of tipping over. It's pure chaos.
Okay, so look at this number, 60 plus. Just let that sink in. What in the world could that possibly be?
That is the number of pallets one driver stocked up and moved all at once. And you have to admit, on one level, it's a masterful display of geometry and control, right? To move that wobbly tower without it collapsing. But on every other level, it's just a complete and total defiance of every safety rule ever written. It's a disaster just waiting for a place to happen.
So this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? We've seen sanctioned, professional skill, and we've seen just plain dangerous stunts. So where do we actually draw that line?
Well, when you lay it out like this, the difference is pretty stark. A safe skill, like that obstacle course, is all about testing precision and control in a sanctioned, controlled setting. An unsafe stunt, like that balancing act, is just about creating a spectacle in a reckless way. One is professional expertise. The other is just breaking all the rules for show.
And that's really the key takeaway here. True mastery isn't just about having the technical skill to do something, it's about having the judgment and the respect for the machine's power to know when you shouldn't do it. That's what separates a real professional from just a daredevil.
So it really makes you think, right? This whole idea that mastery isn't just about what you can do, but what you shouldn't. What other powerful tools in our lives demand that exact same kind of wisdom? It's definitely something to chew on.